Welcome to the Midnight Bible Study. You are a masterpiece. That's the topic of tonight's discussion. You are God's handiwork. You are evidence of God's creation. You are the fingerprints of God and his actions, his creation in the world. Now, there's lots of creation in the world. We could take 5th century BC Greek coins. They're beautifully minted silver coins, and like jewelry, they're impressive. They have miniaturized detail, and they're impressive enough that people collect them, and they're worth substantial amounts of money. However, they're next to the creation, like you, with a creator of vastly superior, almost incomprehensible power. Uh, Something like a 5th century Greek coin is a crude thing. It's a crude thing. Uh, Nature is rich with miraculous design and creation. You take the snowflake and you look at it under a microscope, it's a beautiful thing. It's a thing of beauty. And yet the creation only happens while that thing falls to the ground, and then in many cases it just falls to the ground and melts and it's gone. And yet this incredible beauty, unmatched beauty, lasted just it was created just to fall to the ground and melt, or maybe in a colder place to pile up to pile up uh, for a few months. You look at the flower. The flowers are beautiful examples of God's creation, of God's design in the world. And they last for a season and then they're gone. You look at the waterfall in the sunlight, spring flowing down off through a rich forest, beautiful examples of God's design. And yet all of these examples are nothing compared to the life of biology. You look at the animal kingdom, you've got hundreds of thousands at least of various species that are created to fill out the forests and the deserts and the Amazon and the wetlands, and to fill the world with abundant life. All of them are miraculous. All of them are miraculous. All of them are creation. They didn't just crawl out of the mud like some uh, product of evolution. If that was the case, they'd still be evolving, and we'd have like, you know, half-formed animals and all kinds of birth defects. Everywhere you look, you'd see birth defects of animals in various forms of evolution. But we don't see that. We don't see that. And the reason why is because that's not how they were created. They were created as perfect creations of God, just like the snowflake. The snowflake didn't form over billions of years into something beautiful. It just was formed up in the sky and it fell to the ground, and it happens very quickly, and it's over with very quickly, just like our lives, just like the creation. And you look at all the beauty we've discussed about nature, none of it comes close to you. You are a masterpiece. You're God's masterpiece. God has given you a divine soul and put you in charge of put put you at the top of the chain in the whole world, to have dominion over the animals and dominion over the sea and the forests and the whole world. In the 16th century, Wenceslas Kohlberger was a master architect. Sadly, few of his buildings survive. They're gone. They came and went. You, on the other hand, have an eternal soul. You are a beautiful creation created for eternity with God in heaven. You were created for eternity with God in heaven, and that destiny is right there before you, waiting for you to reach out and accept it to accept the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross to save you, and to follow him according to the Bible. Many artworks are cliched. We see there are many, for example, you take an artwork like the Mona Lisa, there's many reproductions of it, and many art students will try their hand at doing a recreation of the Mona Lisa. And that we see this with many famous artists. They're imitated, and there's even excellent imitators. We call them forgers, who create masterworks of art in their own ability. Yet they're mere imitations. They're imitations. You, on the other hand, are one of a kind original. There is no other one like you. You were created like a snowflake, but with an eternal soul, and not to quickly melt away as if you never were, but to live for eternity with God in heaven. You are a masterpiece of creation. A typical Van Gogh painting contains between 2,000 to 3,000 strokes. Van Gogh is considered a master, perhaps one of the greatest artists of all time. And one of his paintings has 2,000 to 3,000 strokes to create a thing of beauty. A typical human body is far more amazing than any painting, far more amazing than any supercomputer. There are over 700 muscles in the human body. Each one is beautifully attached and made a part of the whole. Your body contains around 30 to 40 trillion cells. They're all working for you. Each cell contains more than 1,000 billion protein molecules. Think about that. The way life has to come together, it has to come together very quickly. Otherwise, the cells will die off before it could ever happen. There is no evolution. It happens very quickly. They come together and they create life, boom, very quickly. 30 to 40 trillion cells coming together and creating life very quickly. Imagine the intelligence that would be required to assemble 30 to 40 trillion cells. Imagine a car factory that was creating a car that had 30 to 40 trillion pieces. How long would it take to create that car? It would be such a monstrosity. It's hard to even imagine it. It's beyond comprehension that anybody could even design a car with 30 to 40 trillion parts. It's simply way too complicated. It'd be way too massive and way too expensive, even if it could be completed, which it couldn't. But yet God has created people in abundance. He's created you, 30 to 40 trillion cells. Each cell contains 1,000 billion proteins, molecules. The complexity to put you together is beyond comprehension. You are a miracle. That's just a fact. You are a miracle. So I hear people say, "Oh, I don't believe in miracles." We hear the atheists say that. That's a ridiculous statement. When Marconi said that he had discovered the invisible radio waves, they threw him in an insane asylum because they didn't believe in miracles, and they said he was a madman because he believed in something that couldn't be seen. So they threw him in because he came up with a theory about the existence of radio waves. Well, it turns out he was correct. I don't believe what I can't see, and yet these same people walk around with cell phones, and it doesn't occur to them that would have been considered a miracle just 30 years ago, 40 years ago. There are 200 different types of cells in your body. So you're not only does your body contain 30 to 40 trillion cells, but they're not all identical. There are 200 types of cells in your body to complicate this even more. And within these cells are about 20 different types of structures. Cells perform functions such as protein synthesis, chemical processing, and energy generation. Imagine the intelligence that put together such an extraordinary machine as the human body. The cell's nucleus contains a perfectly designed control room. That doesn't just happen, it is perfectly designed. The brain of an adult human contains around 100 billion neurons, over 100 billion glia cells. Neurons are the brain's messenger sending information all over the body, 100 billion neurons. Imagine the intelligence and the love involved in putting together that creation. Your heart pumps up to 2,000 gallons of blood during each 24-hour period. That means your heart pumps 730 gallons of blood each year. That's more blood than is needed to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool every single year. What an incredible creation is the human heart to do that perfectly, year after year, beat after beat, minute after minute, hour after hour. It's just that one, just the heart alone is a miracle. Your blood flows through more than 60,000 miles of veins, arteries, and elastic tubes. 60,000 miles of veins are in your body. Imagine the astounding intelligence that put that together so that every person is born with working equipment, unless there was some accident that happened. So your blood flows through more than 60,000 miles of veins, arteries, and elastic tubes. What city has that much? An entire city, might have that much plumbing going on. It's an incredible thing. You are made up of trillions of cells, each one with their own incredible structure and function. You are a miracle. You are the greatest miracle in the world, and not like snowflakes, not like flowers or any other kind of creature, but you are given an eternal soul. You are given intelligence, which is far beyond any other creation. Your body replaces around 330 billion cells per day. So this miracle of creation is going on every single day, and you don't even know it. You don't even have to pay attention to it. You can be totally distracted, and your body replaces 330 billion cells per day. This miracle is going on as this very moment. At that rate, your body is making over 3.8 billion new cells every second. Think of that miracle. A ribosome is the site of protein synthesis in the cell. Each minute, 60 million chemical reactions take place in the ribosomes alone. Each minute, 60 million chemical reactions take place in the ribosomes alone. That miracle is beyond belief. And these things are all happening perfectly in me, in you, in him, in her, all around us. These things are happening perfectly because we have a perfect designer who creates a perfect system. 4 million pain-sensitive structures in your body, 5 million touch detectors, and I've barely scratched the surface. I could go on for hours talking about the human anatomy because the complexity goes on, and yet this doesn't work unless it's put together by a designer of intelligence which is beyond our comprehension. You are a masterpiece. You are God's masterpiece. And you're here, you're given life. Life is an opportunity to choose thanksgiving, to choose to follow God who created you, to choose Him. It's a very brief opportunity, and it's not, we aren't ruled by a tyrant. We get the choice. We can choose to have eternal life with God by following Him, accepting Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, and following His commandments, or we can choose eternal separation. But once we've made our choice, and the day comes and that the clock runs out on us and our life can end at any time, then our eternity is set. So we need to make sure we don't waste our opportunity. It's the greatest opportunity ever. You are a masterpiece. You are the fingerprint of God. You are made with the loving hands of the Master. Turn to Him today. Accept what He's done for you with unmatched thanksgiving and praise, and follow Him in Jesus' name. God bless you, and good night from the Midnight Bible Study.